I want to talk about a subject that always gets a huge response. And I think the reason for that is because all of us understand it viscerally, and that is fear. I personally am scared of lots of different things. In particular, I'm scared of planes, which really sucks because I have to travel a lot for work. So I get over my fear sufficiently to get on a plane and visit other countries. But I really don't understand those people who willingly jump out of a plane. I find them peculiar. Fear is useful. It stops us doing stupid things like jumping out of planes. And it runs deep. Our ancestors became our ancestors because they learned to be afraid of the right things. The guys who heard a rustling in the bush and went over to investigate in the hopes that they might be a hero very often didn't make it. Instead, they got eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. We need to be afraid. The problem is that our brains are still set up to be afraid in the same way as they were for our ancestors. We react to a disruptive colleague or a threat to our funding or a disrespectful direct report in exactly the same way as we react to a dangerous animal. We go into fight or we go into flight mode. And what we want to do is avoid doing that. When we're presented with a threat, our amygdala, the monkey brain, the oldest, most primitive part of our brain, lights up like a light bulb. And that's not what we want to be in charge. That monkey brain is not developed. It goes fight or it goes flight. The world we are presented with today, the dilemmas we have, the problems we need to deal with, needs a much more considered response. We need the amygdala to calm down and we need our executive brain to light up. Often, fear has very detrimental impact on HardTalk because it stops us speaking up. We worry about the very worst case scenario, and so we don't speak up at all. I recently met a gentleman who was a banker, and he had set up a side business. And in his side business, he started to make an awful lot of money, so that he really didn't need the banking job anymore. So he did something quite peculiar, and some might say suicidal. He started telling the truth everywhere he went. Whoever he was talking to, whatever forum he was in, he told the truth. He thought the idea was bad, he said so. He had a question that maybe other people would think was silly, he asked it. And do you know what happened? Good things. Only good things. Now, he was never disrespectful, he was never rude, he always made sure that his objectives were that of the team and of the organization. But what happened when he started speaking up was that people noticed. The grown-ups noticed, and he was suddenly sponsored and promoted. Fear is useful. It stops us doing silly things like jumping out of planes. But it can also stop us doing what we need to do. It can stop us taking the actions that we need to take if we want to see change, if we want to get different results.